Welcome everyone, my name is Limbic and today is Saturday, which means that it's time for a Star class, the Starcraft 2 show for complete beginners. Today's topic might seem a little boring at first, but it's one that I believe is very important. We're going to be taking a look at the options menu in Starcraft 2. And the reason why we're doing this is because there are two options that I believe every single player should change, and that they are set to defaults that I believe are just plain silly, to put it honestly. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. We're going to go ahead and bring up the options menu, and both of them can be found in the gameplay tab. So you just come over to the left here, it will start on graphics. You want to come down to the gameplay and go ahead and select that. Now let's go ahead and restore defaults to show you what it will look like if you've never opened up the options menu before. The two that we're going to be looking at here are this one, show game timer, and this one, enable enemy unit selection. So let's look at our game right now when the options are set to their default. The first that I'd like to talk about is the show game timer. Normally, there will be a timer right here that shows you how much time has elapsed since the game started. And Blizzard, by default, keeps this disabled because apparently it's too distracting to new players. Seriously. This is mind-boggling to me, because the game timer is very, very important. Not only is it important to know timing attacks, so for example, if your opponent does a 6 pool, Zerglings will be arriving in your base at around 3 minutes. Obviously it depends on the map, but just in general, around 3 minutes. If you don't have this timer here, you have no idea when 3 minutes actually is. And don't worry if you don't know all of these timings anyway, because as a new player, you don't necessarily need to, but the in-game timer is still extremely useful for benchmarks. So what is a benchmark? A lot of times when you are trying to learn new builds, a lot of websites will give you benchmarks, which is basically, like a helpful tool to know whether you're doing it right. So for example, a benchmark might consist of, by 6.5 minutes you should have around 25 probes, and your warp gate research should be finished, blah blah blah. Those are things that kind of just made up, but you get the point. They enable you to know how well you're doing at your build. So if you only finish those up by 8 minutes, for example, then okay, I need to do some work. But if you finish those up at around 6.5 minutes, then okay, it looks like I've actually got this build nailed down. And without the game timer enabled, there's no good way for you to be able to monitor that. You can't even use a real timer because Starcraft seconds do not equal real seconds. Look, I'll show you. Let's turn the game timer back on because we are sane human beings. Watch this. These are clearly not real seconds. So that's the first one that I believe that every single player should have enabled, the game timer. It's incredibly important. It boggles my mind as to why Blizzard decided that it should not be enabled. Alright, let's take a look at the second option. It's known as enable enemy unit selection. Now, let's have this probe selected, and let's click on the opponent's barracks. Why is it not selecting this barracks? It's because we no longer have the ability to actually click on anything that belongs to the enemy. We can only click on our own stuff. So if we click on this Nexus, you can see at the bottom of the screen, now it says Nexus and it shows its health and shields and energy. Oh my goodness, what is this thing shooting at a probe? Let's click on it to find out what it's called. Oh wait, we have no idea. Now, this isn't such a big deal if you might think it's not such a big deal if you know all of the models. So okay, well, this is a barracks. This is a command center upgrading into an orbital command. Why do I care if I don't see, if I can't click on them? The reason is because when structures are building, they almost always look exactly the same. And the only way to know what is actually building before it's completed is to click on them. So I'll demonstrate that to you here with Protoss. So we'll have to take these geysers And I'll just go ahead and see you in a minute because we need some gas in order for me to demonstrate this point. So why does it matter that with this option disabled you cannot click on enemy buildings? I will show you why here and now. So let's build a robotics facility and a gateway right next to each other. And I would like to ask you, what do you notice is going on right now? Our zealot's being attacked. Don't worry about that. Just look at this robotics facility and this gateway. If the answer you came up with was these two look almost exactly the same, then you would be absolutely correct. In fact, the only way to tell these two apart while they are constructing is to click on them. So if I click here, I can see, okay, robotics facility. If I click here, I can see, okay, gateway. So imagine this was actually the enemy player, and you wanted to scout them out and see what they were up to. So you sent a worker up here and you saw this. But you can't click on them, because this option doesn't allow you to. So you have no idea what's building there. It could be a gateway, it could be a Stargate, it could be a robotics facility, it could be a Templar Archives, it could be a Twilight Castle. There's so many things it could be. So that's why it's really important to be able to click on your opponent's stuff. Fortunately, there's a simple solution to this problem. All you have to do is open up the options menu and then tick this box right here next to enable enemy unit selection. And you can see I built this observer so that we can go ahead and just see our opponent without getting shot at. Now we can click on this and see command center, click on this and see SCV, click on this and see refinery. So a little bit of a shorter video today. I actually recorded this earlier where I went through every single option and what I recommended you go with for those, and it ended up being 35 minutes, and I was just like, nobody's going to want to listen to me talk about an options menu for half an hour. So I hope you don't mind the shorter star class today. Even our observer died. The very easy AI is not a very nice person. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found something helpful to you here. If you have any questions, please be sure to ask me them in the comment section below. My name has been Limbic. This has been Starcraft, the Starcraft 2 show for beginners. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Let's come back to our probe here, and we'll bring it back, and you can see that now, unfortunately, it died, which is so fantastic. I love it when that happens.